Have you ever stopped to consider what a world without clean water might look like? A sobering question, isn't it? Yet, it's a reality we may soon have to confront if we don't take immediate action. Our water bodies, the lifeblood of our planet, are under siege. From the vast oceans to the smallest streams, water pollution is an escalating crisis that now touches every corner of the globe. Pollution is turning our blue planet brown. Rivers once teeming with life are becoming dead zones. Oceans, once abundant with diverse marine life, are now choked with plastic. And lakes, once crystal clear, are clouded with harmful algal blooms. This grim reality is not just an environmental issue, it's a crisis that affects all life on Earth. Aquatic life is the first to bear the brunt. Countless species are seeing their habitats destroyed, their numbers dwindling, their very survival threatened. But the ripple effects of water pollution go far beyond the aquatic world. It seeps into our lives in ways we may not even realize. When our water bodies suffer, so do we. Polluted water is not just unhealthy, it's deadly. Millions of people worldwide suffer from diseases caused by contaminated water every year. It's a silent killer that claims more lives than any war. And let's not forget the economic implications. Clean water is a driving force behind many industries, from agriculture to tourism. Polluted water can cripple economies, disrupt livelihoods, and widen the gap between the rich and the poor. In short, water pollution is a ticking time bomb, set to explode if we don't diffuse it swiftly. It's a crisis that demands our attention, our action, and our resolve. We stand at a critical juncture, with the fate of our water bodies, and by extension, our planet, hanging in the balance. So how did we get here? Let's hear from the experts. We turn now to a panel of experts who will shed light on the sources of our water pollution. First, we hear from Dr. Amelia Richards, a marine biologist. She tells us, the dumping of industrial waste into our waterways is a significant contributor to water pollution. Harmful chemicals like mercury, lead, and arsenic, which are byproducts of various industries, find their way into the rivers and oceans. These toxic substances are not only detrimental to aquatic life, but also contaminate the food chain, posing a severe threat to human health. Next, we have environmental scientist Dr. James Harrison, who focuses on the issue of plastic pollution. Plastic is a major culprit, he says. Every year, millions of tons of plastic enter our oceans, from discarded water bottles to microplastics in our cosmetics. This plastic pollution can choke, entangle, and kill marine life. Moreover, plastic can take hundreds of years to decompose, leading to long-term contamination. Agricultural runoff is another significant source of water pollution, as explained by agricultural expert Dr. Sophia Martinez. Fertilizers and pesticides used in farming wash into rivers and streams, causing a surge of nutrients, she explains. This leads to a phenomenon called eutrophication, where excessive nutrients cause rapid growth of algae, or algal blooms. These blooms can deplete oxygen in the water, leading to dead zones where aquatic life cannot survive. Our next expert, Dr. Benjamin Clark, a civil engineer, discusses the issue of sewage pollution. In many parts of the world, untreated sewage is directly discharged into water bodies, he points out. This not only pollutes the water but also spreads diseases. It's a major health concern, especially in developing countries. Following this, we hear from Dr. Evelyn Green, a climate scientist. She emphasizes the link between climate change and water pollution. Climate change exacerbates water pollution in several ways, she says. For instance, increased temperatures can intensify algal blooms, while extreme weather events can lead to more runoff and sewage overflows. Finally, we hear from Dr. Samuel Foster, a public health expert. All these sources of pollution have a direct impact on human health, he warns. Contaminated water can cause a range of health issues, from diarrhea and cholera to more chronic conditions like kidney damage and neurological disorders. It's a global health crisis that we urgently need to address. Each expert underscores the gravity of the situation and the urgent need for action. Yet they also highlight that solutions are within our reach. From reducing industrial emissions and plastic use to improving agricultural practices and sewage treatment, there are many ways we can mitigate water pollution. The situation is dire, but it's not beyond salvation. The solutions lie within our grasp. Scene script. Meet the advocates who are pushing for change and working tirelessly to protect our water bodies. Every day, a diverse group of environmentalists, Scientists and advocates dedicate their time, energy, and resources to combat the growing threat of water pollution. Their fight is our fight, as they strive to safeguard the health of our planet and all its inhabitants. Among these advocates is Dr. Sylvia Earle, a renowned marine biologist and explorer who has dedicated her life to exploring and conserving the world's oceans. She once said, "No water, no life, no blue, no green." Her words resonate with the stark reality we face today. Through her initiative, Mission Blue, she has been instrumental in establishing protected areas, or hope spots, in critical aquatic ecosystems around the world. Then we have Boyan Slat, a young entrepreneur and inventor who founded the Ocean Cleanup, an ambitious project designed to remove plastic from our oceans. With his team, he's developed advanced technologies to capture floating plastic debris. Despite the challenges and setbacks, they've made significant strides in their mission to rid the oceans of plastic. We also see the tireless work of grassroots organizations like Waterkeeper Alliance. They empower local communities to protect and preserve their waterways, from the smallest streams to the mightiest rivers. Their efforts demonstrate that change can and does start at the local level. These advocates and countless others like them face significant challenges in their fight against water pollution. They grapple with complex environmental issues, the inertia of established systems, and the daunting scale of the problem. Yet they persevere, driven by the belief that their efforts can and will make a difference. Dr. Earle's hope spots face threats from industrial fishing and deep-sea mining. Boyan Slat and his team must continually refine their technology to effectively capture plastic without harming marine life. And grassroots organizations often struggle to mobilize resources and navigate regulatory hurdles. Despite these challenges, progress is being made. Protected areas are safeguarding critical ecosystems. Innovative technologies are beginning to reduce the volume of plastic in our oceans. Communities are rallying to protect their waterways. Yet these advocates emphasize that more action is needed. They can't do it alone. They need the support of policymakers, businesses, and individuals. They need us. We can make choices that reduce pollution, support policies that protect our waterways, and get involved in local conservation efforts. As we listen to these advocates, we realize that this isn't just about water. It's about life. It's about sustaining the ecosystems that nourish us, that sustain our economies, that enrich our lives in countless ways. It's about ensuring that future generations inherit a planet that's vibrant, resilient, and full of life. These advocates are not just fighting for water, they're fighting for us. And they're inviting us to join them in this fight. They're showing us that we all have a role to play, a contribution to make, a stake in the outcome. So what will we do? Will we stand by and watch as our waters become more polluted, our ecosystems more fragile, our futures more uncertain? Or will we join these advocates, these champions of change, in their fight for cleaner, healthier waters? The choice, as they say, is ours to make, and the time to make it is now. Because every day that passes, every choice we make brings us one step closer to the future we will inhabit. These advocates are doing their part, and they urge us all to do ours. Our actions above water have far-reaching consequences beneath the surface. That's the sobering truth. Our rivers, lakes, and oceans are teeming with life, but pollution is threatening these vibrant ecosystems and the diverse species that call them home. Let's consider the humble frog. These creatures are highly sensitive to changes in their environment, making them the proverbial canary in the coal mine for aquatic ecosystems. Pollution in their habitats can lead to severe health issues, including deformities and population decline. But frogs aren't the only victims. Countless species, from the tiniest plankton to the largest whale, are impacted by the toxins that seep into our waters. Industrial waste, agricultural runoff, and plastic pollution are among the chief culprits. These pollutants can cause a host of problems, including disease, reproductive issues, and even death. For instance, consider the plight of fish exposed to heavy metals, such as lead and mercury. These substances can cause neurological damage, affecting the fish's ability to navigate, find food, and avoid predators. Plastic pollution is another significant concern. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste enter our oceans. This waste doesn't just disappear. It breaks down into tiny particles known as microplastics. These particles are ingested by a variety of marine animals, from small fish to large whales, leading to a host of health problems and even death. Moreover, pollution doesn't just harm individual animals, it can disrupt entire ecosystems. For instance, nutrient pollution from agricultural runoff can lead to harmful algal blooms. These blooms deplete the water's oxygen, creating dead zones where few, if any, organisms can survive. The gravity of the situation becomes more apparent when we consider the interconnectedness of aquatic ecosystems. Damage to one part of the ecosystem can have a domino effect, leading to broader ecological instability. For instance, the decline of a single species can disrupt the food chain, affecting countless other organisms and potentially leading to the collapse of the entire ecosystem. But this isn't just about the animals and the ecosystems they inhabit, it's about us too. Many of the pollutants that harm aquatic life also pose significant risks to human health. Heavy metals in fish can accumulate in our bodies when we consume seafood, leading to a range of health issues, including neurological damage. Plastic pollution in our oceans can affect the food chain, eventually making its way onto our plates. The situation may seem grim, but it's not hopeless. By understanding the impact of our actions on aquatic life, we can begin to make changes. We need to rethink our relationship with water, treating it not as a dumping ground, but as a precious resource that sustains all life on Earth. The ripple effects of our actions are felt far and wide, threatening not only aquatic life, but also our own survival. So let's take a step back. Let's consider the consequences of our actions, because the health of our waters is inextricably linked to the health of our planet, and ultimately, to our own well-being. The cost of water pollution is not just ecological, it's human too. Our health, our livelihoods, our very lives are intricately intertwined with the water that supports us. And when that water becomes polluted, the ripple effects are far-reaching and profound. Water is not just a life-sustaining resource, it is a life-giving force. Yet, when tainted with pollutants, it becomes a source of harm and suffering. Countless diseases and health issues are linked to polluted water. Diarrhea, cholera, dysentery, typhoid and polio are just a few of the illnesses that can be traced back to contaminated water. Every year, millions of people, especially children, fall ill or even lose their lives to these waterborne diseases. Water pollution can also lead to long-term health effects. Chemicals like lead, mercury and arsenic, often found in polluted water, can accumulate in the human body over time, leading to chronic illnesses, developmental issues in children, and even cancer. The constant exposure to these pollutants can have devastating effects on the human body, forever altering lives and leaving a trail of pain and suffering. But the human cost of water pollution is not limited to health alone. There's an economic cost too. Clean water is the backbone of many communities around the world. It fuels industries, powers agriculture, and supports tourism. But when the water is polluted, these sectors suffer. Think about the fishermen who rely on clean rivers and lakes for their catch. Polluted waters can decimate fish populations, leaving these communities with no livelihood. Or consider the farmers who rely on clean water to irrigate their crops. Contaminated water can ruin their harvests, leaving them with no income and even leading to food shortages. And let's not forget the cost of water treatment. Treating polluted water to make it safe for consumption is an expensive process. These costs often fall on the shoulders of local governments and, by extension, the taxpayers. The more polluted our waters become, the more we have to spend to clean it up. Then, there's the cost of healthcare. Treating the diseases caused by water pollution is not cheap. It drains resources from already overburdened healthcare systems and places a significant financial burden on families. In essence, water pollution is a crisis that affects us all, directly or indirectly. It's not just about the fish in the rivers or the birds in the sky. It's about us, about our health, our livelihoods, our futures. The cost of inaction is too high. It's time for a change. We've seen the problem, but what's the solution? How can we steer our waters towards a cleaner, healthier future? In the pursuit of cleaner waters, technology advancements, policy changes, and grassroots initiatives are our guiding stars. Each has a role to play, and each comes with its own set of challenges and opportunities. Let's begin with technology. Technology has always been a driver of progress, and in this case, it's no different. Innovative solutions such as nanotechnology for water treatment and bioremediation techniques are making waves in the fight against water pollution. These methods harness the power of science to remove or neutralize pollutants, turning once contaminated waters into clean, safe sources. But while technology holds promise, it's not a silver bullet. We need to ensure these solutions are accessible and affordable, especially in regions most affected by water pollution. Next, we have policy changes. Legislation can serve as a powerful tool to curb pollution. By imposing stricter regulations on industrial discharges, promoting sustainable farming practices, and setting higher standards for wastewater treatment, we can drastically reduce the amount of pollutants entering our waterways. But policy changes don't happen overnight. They require political will, public support, and often a fair amount of time. Grassroots initiatives, on the other hand, can spring up almost overnight. These are community-led efforts to protect and preserve our water resources. They can range from beach cleanup events to educational campaigns about the dangers of plastic pollution. Grassroots initiatives are vital because they not only encourage individual action but also foster a sense of community and responsibility towards our environment. Now let's talk about individual actions. Each one of us has a role to play in combating water pollution. Simple changes in our daily lives can have a profound impact. It can be as easy as reducing our plastic consumption, properly disposing of waste, or using water-efficient appliances. Remember, every small step counts. Of course, none of these solutions exist in isolation. They are interconnected, each influencing and amplifying the other. Technology can inspire policy changes. Policy changes can drive grassroots initiatives. Grassroots initiatives can motivate individual actions, and individual actions can push for more technology advancements. It's a cycle of progress, a ripple effect that can turn the tide against water pollution. But there's another crucial element in this fight: education. By raising awareness about the plight of our waters and the solutions at hand, we can inspire more people to join the cause. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's the power to make a difference. In the end, the path to cleaner waters isn't a straight line. It's a winding road filled with obstacles and detours. But it's also a journey filled with hope and opportunity. It's a journey that involves scientists and policymakers, communities and individuals, all working together towards a common goal. And it's a journey that begins with us. Each of us, in our own way, can contribute to the solution. Whether it's through supporting technology advancements, advocating for policy changes, participating in grassroots initiatives, or making mindful choices in our daily lives, we all have a part to play. The path to cleaner waters is paved with collective action and innovation. The journey begins with us. We've journeyed through troubled waters, but there's hope on the horizon. Our voyage today has taken us deep into the heart of a pressing environmental crisis: the alarming rise of water pollution. We've heard from experts and advocates who've shed light on the many sources of contamination that are threatening our waterways. From industrial discharges to the insidious spread of plastic pollution, the scale of the problem is immense, yet it's one we cannot afford to ignore. We've seen the profound impact of pollution on our aquatic ecosystems. These waters, teeming with life, are now under threat, with the balance of biodiversity precariously hanging in the balance. The effects ripple outwards, influencing not just the plants and creatures in these ecosystems, but us humans as well. The human cost of water pollution is a stark reminder of the urgency of this issue. We've delved into stories of communities grappling with contaminated water supplies, of health risks, and of the social and economic consequences that follow. Yet, amidst these troubled waters, we've also glimpsed solutions, pathways to cleaner, more sustainable water. We've seen the tireless work of environmental advocates, the innovative strategies from scientists, and the potential impact of each one of us making mindful choices. The journey towards cleaner waters is not a solitary one. It's a collective effort, a chorus of voices advocating for change, a multitude of hands working towards solutions. We all have a part to play, from making conscious consumer choices to supporting policies that protect our waters. The fight against water pollution is a fight for the health of our planet, for the vitality of our ecosystems, and for our own well-being. It's a fight that extends beyond borders and generations. It's a fight that we are all a part of, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. Our waters may be troubled, but they are not beyond saving. The horizon holds promise, but only if we act, and act now. It's our responsibility to safeguard our waters for future generations. Will you join the fight?